You feel like you know someone, whether it's in business, a business partner only, or a partnership, or both. You feel like you know them after a year. And we're about a year and a half into it, and a physical abuse thing happened for the first time. And there was only a second, and I left everything. So I feel like it was a very interesting case, because it's like no amount of money in the world is worth sacrificing your self-worth, or it's one of those things where you feel like, oh, it would never happen to me. And then you look at people that, you know, and this is the worst question of all. It's like, why did it take you so long to leave? Or why, blah, blah, blah. When you have your whole world tied in with one person that you've given all your trust to, that you work with, and this is not to speak on being a victim on anything, because I totally don't think I was. I feel like I didn't know how to handle that situation because it had never happened to me before. And so it taught me a lot. It taught me how to love myself better, what self-care actually looks like, what I really want in a partnership, and what I really in a business partnership, and then what I really want in a partner. And that shift to me was very straightforward, because money can help you. It could be used as a tool to get to where you want to impact more people, to have beautiful experiences in life, but it's never worth sacrificing your happiness for, because I had more money then than actually I probably do now, because I invest in so many things. And I'm 10 million times happier right now, because I don't feel lonely. I don't feel alone in the world. I feel so loved. I feel connected with people. I feel like I'm on the right path and I'm living in my mission. And that's priceless. So going back to your original question, it was easy for me to pivot then through that business divorce, because I realized quickly that my self-love and worth was not up to par, and I needed to work on that. And that's what I've been doing the last many years, that I feel like it's such a beautiful place now, but it's taken a long time too. Yeah. But it feels good. It feels good to be there.
It's absolutely horrible that that happened to you, but I'm so glad you took the time. Like, and that's the hardest part for, I think, a lot of people, is taking that time to like identify and recognize, like, I need to do this for me, and I need to move forward with doing self-care and understanding, you know, why this wasn't the right fit for me, so it can lead me to better opportunities.
And I'll tell you this much too, really quick. I feel like sometimes your intuition can knock at you, and maybe it's a whisper and then you don't listen. Maybe something big happens and it still isn't enough for you to make a change. And then it's like a ton of bricks, and you have nowhere else to go but then to change something you're doing or to build up. And that's okay. That's part of you getting to learn, okay, now I know better, that in the future, when I see or feel that calling to me, and I know to switch my career, my love life, my friendships, the environment in which I'm living in, because it's not helping me grow, whatever that looks like for you, that's when you really begin to learn that that is the calling, and that it's okay to leave something that seems like it's working good, but you want to step in to greatness, because it's like that balance beam. What are you sacrificing for the career right now? What are you sacrificing for the relationship right now? And kind of taking a look at how that feels to you. And I know I've gone off on a tangent, but I feel like that's a really big thing to me, that like helps me with every pivot that I've made. I've always been very heart driven.
Yes.
And it's led me to really good places. And that's why when I left a 7-figure company, literally cutting it off, it felt so great. And I was like, wow, this is how strength is built. Because let me tell you, the first 6 months after that was not fun, but you just keep doing it. And and it just builds every single day that you build those good habits. You don't give up on yourself. You allow yourself to feel the emotions, but you move on and you move forward. Then you're able to step into your next chapter. So
Yes. Yes. How did you start to remodel you?
it started from that big part of my life. The most chaotic time in my life ever was that business divorce. And that's why I talk about it. And I've had friends that tell me, Amber, why do you even mention it on stage? Maybe he'll hear it and he knows who he is and he's going to think, oh, wow, she's not over this. And no, 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 no. I love to talk about it because, yeah, it's personal. First of all, I healed from it. I don't think
Exactly.
it's ever the best time to talk about things when you bring it up and then you want to cry because you're still in the middle of your healing process. You don't know what the lessons are until after you've completed that process.
So true.
But I like to talk about it now because I've healed. Honestly, I feel empathy because hurt people. And I know I never want to hurt people. And being hurt from that situation, it's like, wow, like I don't even know what the background was of what made him become that way. And then two, he was the catalyst to me discovering in 2017, just 2017, which wasn't that long ago, I didn't even know who Tony Robbins was. I saw this guy on the internet and he's talking about self-development and motivation and vision boards. And I'm like, who's this wacko talking about all this stuff? Like I just want to lay on the sofa and eat pizza and watch chick flicks. Like,
Yes.
but he intrigued me. And that was the turning point into self-development for me. And I moved so quick in it. And invested in so much in coaches and people, as I know you have too. We
Yes.
all have our own journey in that. And that was my shift, was getting that was my remodel you moment. I was able
Mm.
to, without even realizing it, my soul was calling to digging in deeper than, I was backtracking for a second. I was raised in a household where my mom stayed with my dad because she lived without a father, but my father wasn't the best example of a father.
Mm.
And there were days we didn't have electricity because we grew up, like I had 4x4 wood posts that held up our sink. Like we didn't even have a full kitchen. Like I grew up with very little. I felt loved. My mom was amazing. And me and my dad have a really great relationship now. But all that to say, you don't really know what normal is when you grow up in a certain environment and are around certain people. You don't realize how important your environment is. And so
Mm.
coming out of that, getting into self-development and that kind of growth, it just helped me shift it flipped my world around with the old stories I told myself, or you have to work too hard to make money, or like all
Yes.
of those things. And so all of that kind of compiled.
Wow.
And I'm still on a journey of learning and growth. I do not have it all figured out. But let me tell you, the person that you would have met when I was 15 or 24, I started my first company at 24, completely different person. And I have to thank the person I had a business divorce with for that, because it was the catalyst to like exploring this self-development
Mm. So,
galaxy.
so as you remodeled yourself and then you started to feel more confident in your business and started to develop, you had your construction business, but then you were like, I need to pivot and speak on stages. What was that moment? I know like Tony Robbins probably inspired you a bit, but what was that moment like, I need to get my message out?
It was recently, I saw an ad for speakers on Instagram, and it was of this mom who had the most powerful, impactful message, but she wasn't necessarily teaching people like, this is how you grow to 100K YouTube followers. Like, it was nothing in particular. It was just pure inspiration, but she did it in a way that made you feel like you grew as a person. And I thought, well, I've been coaching with all these amazing people. By the way, I met Jay Shetty before he was Jay Shetty. Him and I have photos together. We've gotten to coach together. I got to work with I got to work with Jay Shetty before he was Jay Shetty and had On Purpose podcast interviewing the freaking president and Kim Kardashian. Like,
unbelievable.
like, I probably need to reintroduce that to my Instagram feed because he's amazing. Yes. But my point is, we've gotten to meet all these amazing people, and they were talking about how like the impact with one person's great, but the impact with hundreds is greater. And I just thought, if anyone's ever hurt like I've hurt, and I could share and be vulnerable in the sense of like expose all the parts that like have hurt me, but also were the catalyst in my growth, but then they can, like with what Tony Robbins did to me, with what Jen and Chris have done with me, with what all these online mentors have helped impact my life. If I could do that for other women, oh my gosh, are we on to something?
Yes.
And then that's when I thought, let me just try. So I went to Toastmasters. I went for like a year, and then next thing you know, I'm, auditioning and winning a golden ticket for Grant Cardone and Pete Vargas's television show that probably I think comes out in 2024.
That's
yeah.
So incredible, Amber.